Hi, I'm Tiffany.
And I'm Rihanna, and welcome back to Fresh Off the Broke.
Fresh Off the Broke is about personal experiences growing up Asian American in a predominantly white community, Asian media, and Asian pop culture in general. Race has always been a sensitive topic. Every day there are debates over race. With our podcast, we intend to shed light on the experiences of first-generation Asian immigrants, not put them on a pedestal.
We understand that race isn't everything, but there should be an acknowledgement of people of color, the knowledge gap, and the racial divide that will ideally be broken. Now that that's out of the way, let's get into the episode. Today we will discuss how to survive being the token Asian.
Now, before we start off the episode, we want to wish everyone a Happy New Year.
Yay!
Yay! Happy New Year! Happy 2023. Hope y'all are having a good start to your year. New year, new goals.
Real.
New year, new. I was gonna try to, you know how they say like every day is a new day? I was gonna try and say something along the lines of that, but you can't really say like new year, new year.
Yeah.
It doesn't really work. New year, new chances. How about that?
Yeah, I like that. Also, I'm gonna address this. We were on a short little break in the new year. That was not intentional. I did get sick. So if you hear me sounding a little bit off this episode, I'm still recovering. I'm pretty much 100%, but still recovering. So please bear with me. I hope that your new year did not start off as badly as mine did. I was gonna swear there, but new year, new me.
Woohoo! We're glad to have you back.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here. I'm like, it wasn't even that long of a break, but I feel like it's been so long, and I'm like happy that like we just did that intro, you know?
Yeah, it's a little like, I don't know how I want to say nostalgic, but
Yeah.
back into the groove of things.
Yeah, that's the feeling.
You can hear the music in your head.
Yeah.
I don't know if I've ever done that before.
You have not.
Well,
okay.
New year, new.
Yeah. New year, new us, clearly.
Yeah. For the better.
Mm-hmm.
All good things considered. Let us know if you have any New Year resolutions, anything you're looking forward to this year, or even if you have anything that you would like to see from us this year, let us know.
Yeah.
We're always happy to chat with y'all, and we're always happy to, hear your thoughts, because this podcast is a shared experience.
Oh my God. Full circle moment.
It is a shared experience because
it is.
Even though you're not necessarily talking with us when we're recording these, it still is a conversation.
Yeah.
At least it feels like that to me.
Same.
Yeah. Like I was saying about new year, new chances, new opportunities, this episode, we're actually kicking off something new. Would you like to?
Sure, I'll do the honors. So, we're starting off this new year with a new ongoing series that we will be doing. There's no set schedule, but we will be doing this from now on, and we're going to be calling it FOB Facts. So it's kind of like a survival guide type thing where we'll give tips and advice on how to survive certain scenarios or certain feelings or just certain shared experiences that Asian people may find themselves in.
Yeah. And a lot of these things, they could be childhood specific or school specific, or maybe something that's relevant to something that had happened recently. Like I don't want to say social media trend, but let's just say a trending topic, like a trending topic of conversation that I don't know, let's just say all of a sudden everyone's talking about a certain shared experience that Asian people have. And it's like, hey, y'all remember this? Or have y'all ever thought about this? And then everyone's like, yes. And we're like, let's talk about it.
Yeah, let's do a FOB Facts episode.
So, like Rihanna was saying, there's no set schedule. This is just something that we're kind of going to integrate into our podcast. And every once in a while, just a fun sit down, have some tangents here or there, like personal experiences, and then like a chill, relaxed advice episode. Because we have so much life experience that
yes, so much
we want to share with you. We are so wise.
Yeah.
We will do our best. Fresh off the wisdom.
Fob.
I really like the way you enunciate. That was really good.
Thank you. Thank you.
That was beautiful, actually. I missed it.
Me too. Oh. Okay. Before we get too sappy for you guys, let's start off.
So what's a token Asian?
Yeah. What is a token Asian?
So being a token Asian basically means being like the only Asian person, or for instance, being the only Asian kid at an all-white school, or being the only Asian kid in your friend group, or just being the token Asian in a scenario or in a given setting of people. And so this episode is kind of talking about how to possibly navigate that, and how we dealt with it, how it made us feel. Because, I mean, I guess with the internet now, it's really easy to find a community or a given interest, or like even just interest. It's really easy to find people that like the same things as you. And in that same way, it's easy to find people from like the same cultural background as you. And so if you feel really isolated, like I just blanked, sorry. If you feel really isolated, there are now like many different ways that you could deal with that, or how you could alleviate something. I'm talking about a sickness, but how you can alleviate that. And that's what we're talking about today.
And like the main issue with being the token Asian is that isolation and that loneliness. So
yes, for sure.
We will get into that. Yes. So the main, I'd say, issue or like feeling of being the token Asian is that loneliness feeling. And I will say that sometimes there are some great benefits to being the token Asian kid. Well, I wouldn't say great, actually. There are some benefits to being the token Asian kid, but the main feeling is like that isolation and that loneliness. Because again, you are the only one. Whether that be at a school or a friend group, it's still very isolating. Even within a friend group, like, even though friend groups are smaller than, let's say, like a school community or something, friend groups are the people that you choose to surround yourself with. Like, those are the people that you would, I mean, assumingly, want to spend most of your time with. So if you can't really relate to the people around you on a specific level, like, it can be really difficult. And especially if, like, let's say you are in a predominantly white community and your friends are predominantly white, there isn't even that like connection of you get the ethnic experience as well.
Because it doesn't always have to be, hey, like, you're Chinese, I'm Chinese, and then because you're not Chinese, like, we'll never get along. It's
Uh-huh.
not like that. It's like you were saying the uh the ethnic experience.
Mm-hmm.
Just because even though yes, we're all human, there just are certain things that if you don't get it, you don't get it,
Yeah.
and
Like
you
you just
can't
don't have that
connect on the
experience.
same level. And that's not to say
Mm-hmm.
that you can't be
Be
friends with
under
white people. Like
Yeah.
it's
Or
not.
like even just be understanding of it.
Yeah, of course not.
But again, like it just gets into like if you live through it, that's way more that's different from just hearing about it and being understanding to it.
And if you're the only Asian kid at a school or the only person of color at a school, that can say a lot about the community. And
Uh-huh.
so, like, that can come with a lot of prejudice and
Mm-hmm.
racism because being the only Asian in a friend group, I guess it depends. If you're the only, basically the only Asian or one of the few Asians at a school, and then you're also maybe the only Asian in your friend group, that can be like double as isolating
Yeah.
with both of those things combined. But if you were at a school that was somewhat diverse, and then you happen to be in a friend group where you were the only Asian person, you would still feel isolated within your own friend group, but
Uh-huh.
you would still have the broader school community.
Yeah, yeah, that's for sure.
Because for me growing up, I was one of the few Asian, I was one of the few people of color at my school.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought this up before. My school was really racist.
Mm-hmm.
And so the kids were racist, the parents were racist, like the teachers were racist, everything. And it really sucked because my friends or the people that I hung out with growing up were also pretty racist.
Mm-hmm.
And it sucked because you couldn't even really, I mean, you could just not have friends, but it was kind of one of those situations where you don't really have a, like, these are the people
Yeah.
everywhere, and you don't really have a choice. And here's the thing, I don't mean that my friends were racist and then I let them be racist so that I could fit
Uh-huh.
in with them. I mean, they were racist to me.
Yeah.
They would I remember in elementary school, I had a friend and she would make racist jokes, whether that would be or comments, whether that would be towards Asian people or to any other group.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say like, "Hey, like that's offensive," or "Hey, like what that's mean," or whatever. And she would get annoyed with me, and it sounds like I'm rehashing like uh, drama, and I guess I am rehashing like little kid drama or whatever. But she went behind my back one day when I wasn't at school and was like making fun of me.
Ugh.
Uh, like mocking me in the way that I would say like that things were offensive. Like that's so offensive.
My God.
Okay, but these were the types of people that I went to school with. Everyone, even if they weren't outwardly racist or super
Just
just
like not
comfortable
obvious.
with
Yeah.
casual racism, you could definitely tell that there was some level of prejudice or even just negative assumption.
Mm-hmm.
And there's just the way that some people they it's the way they instinctively react.
Yeah. And like for the people who are who might be thinking like, oh, you don't know that. Like, no, that is just what happens when you are in a predominantly white area.
Yeah, and I mean, it's even if you're not in a predominantly white area, or even if you're not like an Asian kid, these things like prejudice just exists.
Yeah.
Period. And I mean, you can think about it in the way that there are people that when they get in an elevator with, say, a Black person, they tighten their grip on their bag. Like, it's
Yeah, it's very,
these types of casual little things that people
yeah.
do that you feel, "Okay, like, this is where I am, and
Yeah.
this is what's going on."
And some people like do it unconsciously too. Like some people don't even realize it. But like they're just hardwired to feel that way and do that unconsciously because again, they're just not exposed to people of different ethnicities. Like it happens. But again, I will say in Tiffany's situation, knowing like this was definitely a very, very prejudiced school and area. I can vouch for that.
Rihanna's been on a what is it called? A field survey.
Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah. How about you?
Um, again, saying this for the 1,000th time, we had completely different experiences, especially in elementary and middle school. I would say I was the token East Asian in my class. Um, most of the kids in my class were South Asian, but with outside of my class, our school was completely white, essentially. Um, so it was this like weird mix of like our group were the token like ethnic kids, and then within our group, I was the token East Asian. So
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't if anything, it just felt more of like a yes, people were racist, but it was more of like a we were okay with it because we all experienced something or like we were all in the same boat and we all understood that. So we didn't really have any hard feelings unless like one of the white kids in our class were to say something. Then everyone would like flame them because we had power in numbers.
Mm-hmm.
But like yeah. Um within our class, maybe kids were racist, but then like outside of class, like during recess or something or during lunchtime, one of my friends, like we were just sitting outside. I'm sure I've told this story. And like one girl in our school was passing by with her friends. And like my friend wears a hijab. And this girl was passing by and she like coughed and was like, terrorist. And like just said that out of nowhere. So
Okay.
that's what it was like growing up in that environment, but luckily we're very isolated for the most part.
Uh-huh.
So in that sense, like I wouldn't say it was a bad experience for me. I was very lucky to have been in that isolated environment. However,
Uh-huh.
I have been like the token Asian person in certain circumstances, and I try to make the most of it. Um, so like for example, again, I've just been very lucky in that growing up, I've been surrounded by, if not Asian people, just like ethnic people in general.
Uh-huh.
But especially in high school, it was a very white school. And for certain projects, I know this is technically unethical, but I don't care. I would always play
Oh.
the race card because I knew that I would be guaranteed a good grade. Not that I would like play the race card and do a bad job because I was a very good student, okay? Don't come for me. um but yeah, like I would try to make the most of it and like I definitely benefited from the fact that a teacher couldn't look at my work and be like, this is bad, or like be like, this is untrue, because I would just respond with, well, how would you know? You're white. You wouldn't know. So that's how I benefited from that. And I think you will agree, like, we were token Asians within our high school community, but luckily all of the Asians did band together and had some form of, like, we all knew each other, at least.
Yeah.
And like, I can't imagine what it would be like to be the only Asian kid, like the only Asian kid at a school. That's probably so horrible to feel. Like, I can't imagine what that would be like. Because I really, really relate, or it's really comforting to me. I can feel comfortable in a situation if I see people that look like me. As
Yeah,
much
for
as
sure.
like, yeah, as much as people could be like, well, that's like, you shouldn't think of it that way. But ultimately, like,
Well, no, I think you're right.
mm-hmm. It's
I guess
just,
it
it's
depends on the
comforting.
way you say it, because
Yeah.
cause, uh when you're like a person of color and you feel more comfortable, having people that look like you around is a lot different than
Mm-hmm.
if you were. I mean, you could be a person of color and also it think of it in a racist way,
Uh-huh.
but
We are not thinking of
what
it
I'm
in that way.
saying is, like, you're obviously not thinking of it in a racist
Yeah,
way,
yeah.
and there is a racist versus non-racist way of thinking about it.
Uh-huh.
Because it's the same way of, like, a girl going to, I don't know, let's say she walked into the gym and it was like all guys. That could be intimidating to someone.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Oh, I was gonna say something else. What was it? Oh, I'd also like to say that even though people do feel comfortable and like try to make friends with other Asians, I would like to say that you really don't need to force yourself to do that if the other person is just like a not good person. Like, don't pick your friends just because they're Asian. You know, like, get to know them, but don't stick with a person you don't like just because you have some sort of connection like that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, that's very difficult if you're like the only few, but like, don't make yourself miserable like that. Because I feel like sometimes putting up with people that you don't like is also just, that'll make you feel even worse about the situation.
Uh-huh. I was talking about this a little bit earlier about, like, the internet and social media. One thing that definitely, even though I may have not noticed at the time that it helped, looking back, if I can say that it probably did help. Having the internet and YouTube
Mm-hmm.
and seeing, like, Asian YouTubers,
Uh-huh.
or having access to Chinese television
Mm-hmm.
definitely made my experience better, even if I didn't notice it at the time.
Uh-huh.
Because having those Asian YouTubers that would maybe make funny little skits about being Asian or growing up Asian and being able to laugh at it,
Mm-hmm.
or even we were talking about this in the Asian Canadian episode about Carlos, the YTV host. Even though
Yeah.
I didn't consciously process that he was Asian and then go, wow, it's an Asian guy, I think that really helped. Just
Yeah.
because, and people have talked about this superhero movie, like,
Mm-hmm.
Asian superheroes or like black superheroes, or um yeah, superheroes, because kids then they will think, hey, that person looks like me, and then there's a super cute thing where they dress up as them for Halloween. They're like, I
Yeah.
could be a superhero because
Yeah.
he did it. And I just think because here's the thing, people that are against it tend to think that representation is annoying and dumb and whatever. But here's the thing, like seeing someone that looks like you on a screen can mean a lot because
Mm-hmm.
it's almost like it's validating your existence.
Yeah,
You could be
exactly.
completely different people. Like I have no interest in becoming a musician, but say like an Asian pop, like Asian American pop artist winning, like I definitely have some level of happiness for them just because
Mm-hmm.
we're both Asian. Like I'm proud of
Mm-hmm.
them.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing people in movies or whatever playing characters that have nothing to do with me, even like them being Asian, like it can mean something, especially if you're like an aspiring actor.
Uh-huh.
Like if they can do it, like maybe you can.
Yeah.
Like granted, there are many obstacles, but maybe you can because one person got there. You know?
Yeah. And especially for little kids, like that's very important to see
Yeah,
representation as a child.
because not all of them, but a decent amount of the people that think representation is stupid don't know what it's like to not be represented.
Yeah.
Because you don't notice that kind of thing when if you're not if you're not represented, you don't notice that kind of thing where, oh, why is everyone like why this doesn't make sense demographically
Uh-huh.
or uh man, it would be nice if I saw Asian superhero or an
Mm-hmm.
Asian, I don't know, Barbie.
Yeah.
You don't notice that kind of thing when you're the majority in the scenario.
Yeah. And even kids, like people do argue like, well, at the end of the day, everyone's human, but like kids do not understand that concept truly, like they're gonna look and be like, that person looks like me or that person doesn't look like me.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's very important for
Yeah.
children,
I also find
especially.
that rebuttal really annoying because
I know, right?
I guess it depends on the person, but if we're talking about a racist person, I just immediately think, okay, but you don't treat them as human.
Yeah.
You treat them as subhuman.
Yeah. Like it's your mindset is already flawed, so we can't be having this conversation.
Yeah, and I mean, we're talking about how we saw people on YouTube, and the thing is, because YouTube, anyone can post on it.
Mm-hmm.
That was definitely an easy way for us to see representation because anyone could be a YouTuber
Yeah.
or well,
That
not a
was
YouTuber, but anyone could be on YouTube because
yeah.
thinking like we didn't see that many Asian people on TV.
No, no. YouTube, however, shout out to the Asian YouTubers episode.
Yeah,
But
and
there
just
were lots in during the time that we consumed YouTube at our peak,
mhm, peak Asian YouTube.
for real. And like there was always this feeling, I think especially for me, it was when I would watch like Ryan Higa and stuff. Um, there was this feeling of like, because it's not TV and it's not like this high production thing, and it's simply just like a guy and his friends making videos, there's that like personal aspect. As much as it's like, parasocial relationships are dangerous and stuff, but there's that feeling of like, like I feel included. It's not
Mhm.
so disconnected to the point where I'm like, these are famous people. It's like there's that feeling of like there is someone like me and I feel like I'm included. And I think it would be definitely way harder for people without the internet or like before the internet, because YouTube especially opened that up, that like personal level up.
Mhm.
And it was very important for me growing up. Like watching Asian YouTubers, as much as it's nostalgia's sake, it was also very much like I felt included.
Because you could be bullied at school for being Asian, and then not to get too like sad, but like, you're at school, you get bullied for being Asian, maybe you cry, and then you go home. But then you can go on YouTube and maybe watch your favorite YouTuber and feel
Yeah.
better.
And like we're talking, especially like growing up, like we're not talking about being adults and doing that. I'm sure there are adults who do that, and that's horrible. And I'm very sorry that you have to go through that. But like this is the reality for a lot of kids, especially.
Mm-hmm.
And the only way that they can feel accepted with their own, like ethnicities besides their family, if they have a supporting family, like
Mm-hmm.
it's only YouTube and the internet. That's their only support. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very important. So highly recommend that if you are
Highly
going
recommend the
through it.
internet.
Yeah, highly recommend the internet. I mean, how did you find us?
True. I never heard truer word. Yeah, I can't imagine what it would have been like. I guess it would add to the isolating experience because you don't have as much of an outlet.
Mhm.
Because I guess you would still have television. We're not talking that far back.
Yeah, yeah. It's just harder to feel that connection.
Especially if we're talking about on a, for instance, like Asian Canadian kind of experience.
Mhm.
I remember growing up, I've mentioned this before, but my English wasn't really good when I was little. That kind of played into its own, that added a layer of problems because then there was
Mhm.
a different level of racism.
Mhm.
And fortunately, kids never made fun of me for it. It was, I mean, for one, I also grew out of it in the first grade or something. I was just really bad in kindergarten,
Mhm.
like the first 2 years or the 2 years of kindergarten that we had, because prior to going to kindergarten, I had probably never spoken English in my life, I want to say,
Mhm.
because my parents don't know English, so we spoke Cantonese at home. And so, like I was saying, the kids never made fun of me for it. I don't even think they really knew how. I mean, how good was their English? Let's be honest.
Yeah, yeah.
Better than mine, but when you're a kid, you kind of just talk gibberish.
Yeah.
But my teacher really hated me for it, and it was a source of frustration for her to the
So,
point where it was she I don't know if she did it at a regular parent teacher interview or if she scheduled a separate one, but she told my parents to stop speaking
oh my God.
Cantonese or stop speaking Chinese at home. And that doesn't make sense for one. And it was just I when it happened, I had some level of consciousness. Like I can still remember it. It wasn't
Mhm.
a situation where my parents had to tell me when I was older, and then I live off of that memory. I very vividly remember being in that room and them saying that, and the person that translated the message for them, which, oh my goodness, I also mentioned this before, but can you imagine you're in a parent teacher interview and you're this English speaking, like you're just like old white woman,
Mhm.
and you're being very aggro about the fact that you're just upset that this kid's English isn't very good, but you need a translator to tell her parents that.
Yeah.
Make it
Man.
make sense.
Yeah. As someone who is currently like looking into education further in life, like, man, just be a better teacher. Like, yes, times have changed from when we were in kindergarten, but it's not been that long. Like, y'all just suck as teachers. Because kids who speak English, yes, there is a difference, but like kids who speak English, like, are they really speaking, even if it's their first language, are they really speaking English in kindergarten? Like, some kids are. Some kids don't even know where they are. You know? Like, just be a better
Yeah,
teacher.
just a kid.
Kids absorb knowledge like sponges. Like, maybe you're just not smart enough to teach children.
Yeah, and also we weren't in kindergarten. What were we even doing all day? Right?
Literally.
It
Like,
wasn't like, because here's the thing, the issue wasn't that I wasn't doing well in kindergarten. For one, we weren't really doing anything.
yeah.
I would do the assigned, I would do the assignment, but
Yeah.
I would do the, I guess, quote unquote, like assigned activities that we had, and I would interact with my my peers. Sounds so professional.
Yeah.
I would interact with my colleagues
Yeah. You
at the
would
age
do
of
the assigned
4.
syllabus.
We would go through case studies together
Yeah.
in the
Go through the
sandbox.
modules.
Yeah, while playing dress up.
Yeah.
But I would interact with my peers and everything, so it was kind of it seemed pretty personal, if you ask me.
Yeah. It really is though, because like the only thing I can like try to understand is her like being frustrated that she can't communicate with you. And it's like that's just you being a bad teacher. Like, communication at that age is universal. Like, no one, kids are literally learning languages at that point. Like,
And learning how to be a person.
exactly. Like, you just are lazy if you want your like a kid to stop speaking their first language at home because it'll make your job easier when you teach the alphabet. Like,
Which doesn't even make sense because then just there's just no level of understanding or communication.
yeah.
I just stopped speaking. So what do we speak? Do we just stop speaking to each
Yeah,
other?
don't speak. It's so dumb. That's so annoying.
And also, here's the thing: that type of thing is the reason why some kids grow up like forgetting their
Yeah,
language,
exactly.
and then they don't know how to communicate with their parents anymore. I have friends like that,
Mm-hmm.
and I know people that know people like that, where the kid just stopped speaking their language and kind
Mm-hmm.
of forgot it because of the fact that you go to English public school and then there's the separation of
Yeah.
English versus your language, and then you just stop speaking it, and then your parents don't really speak English. So it
Mm-hmm.
always really breaks my heart because it's not the kids' fault,
No.
but then they grow up, and I don't even necessarily mean grow up as in the age of 10. I mean it changes their life
Yeah.
and their entire relationship with their parent.
Yeah.
They just don't really know how to talk to each other anymore.
First gen problems.
Yeah.
Man, I think that's actually like part of the reason why my parents didn't really, well, like when I was younger, I could technically speak Tagalog if I wanted to, but like it would take me a long time to think of certain sentences, and like my pronunciation would be terrible. But like my parents did tell me, like, you they ingrained this into me as a kid, like, you are Canadian, like, you
Uh-huh.
speak English, English is your first language, like, you are Canadian. And they did express to me before, like, yeah, like, we just thought it would be difficult for you, um and we wanted you to like speak English, like we wanted that. And it's sad because like as much as I do understand it, I still feel that disconnect of like I can't speak it and I can't communicate to the level that I want to be able to communicate. But again, like I do understand why my parents would be like, we want her to
like assimilate into.
Yeah, I understand. And it's sad that has to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, I understand.
It's sucks because then there's those people that say, "Oh, well, it's your fault for coming here."
Yeah, for real. It's like you're in Canada or you're in America, speak English.
Yeah, like you're in Europe or Australia or whatever.
Yeah.
I don't think people
mentality.
understand the history of the world.
Yeah, seriously.
And then like immigration and everything.
Ugh.
Some people came because of the war. Some people came for a multitude of reasons.
Yeah.
They don't like just because they made the sacrifice of coming doesn't mean that they deserve the bad things that happen, or like the bad long-term effect. It's way more complicated than, oh, why did you come? Just go back.
We mentioned this earlier and just like throughout while we were talking about it, but I guess our advice for being the token Asian and just how to survive, in summary, if there are other Asians within your vicinity, within your area,
vicinity, so just getting them.
Yeah.
The radar.
Just try to get to know them, or try to get to know them even on a surface level, because even just knowing someone's name or knowing of each other's existence helps.
Yeah, I think it's important to stick together.
Yeah. And again, as I said, like if they truly are a type of person that you don't want to be around, don't force yourself to be. Like even just that acknowledgement will help that loneliness.
And yeah.
Yes.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, like the whole thing about being alone is that there is no one. But even if it's just a simple nod or a simple like mutual understanding of I know that person, that's already a step above, and that's one step towards surviving.
For some reason, you saying the whole step thing is making me think of the moon, the moon landing.
One small step for Asians.
One giant step for Asian kind.
Yes. Or one small step for the token Asian, one giant leap for surviving.
How inspirational.
Thank you.
We mentioned the internet a lot, and one thing that's really nice about the internet is, so outside of just talking about like watching videos or whatever, there exist communities such as Facebook groups or why can't I think of anything else? There's like Facebook groups, forums, Reddit communities. I mean, be careful on Reddit.
Be careful on Reddit, but
yeah, be careful on Reddit. Discord servers, which also be careful on Discord.
I mean, be careful anywhere, but like especially Reddit and Discord.
Yes, internet safety 101.
Yeah, pretty much.
But yeah, as I was saying, there's different group chats, there are like online communities, or even so one thing that I always was kind of sad about growing up with my school has never really had any clubs or so some schools they had like a not diversity club but like a multicultural club or
Mm-hmm.
things like that. Like my schools barely even did what was it called? Like cultural heritage fair.
Mm-hmm.
That we didn't have that. I think in elementary school once, or no, not once, but in elementary school we had this thing where you would wear uh your cultural attire, but that was like kind of it,
Mm-hmm.
pretty surface level.
Yeah.
And things those were kind of things that kind of made me sad because we never really had any clubs or like groups. But on nowadays online there people have like online clubs or
Uh-huh.
online organization and you could join those.
Mm-hmm.
You can participate in them as well as join group chat, which is really great because that's something that we didn't have growing up
Mm-hmm.
but you can have now.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in the bitter resentful way.
Yeah, no, no. Because there are definitely like dangers to that as well. That's just like basic internet safety.
Yeah. uh, But yeah, in general, I'm very happy that these new
Yes.
spaces are existing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was gonna say one other thing. It slipped past my mind. Oh, okay. I remember.
Okay.
If you are a college student or like a university student, you should try and research and see if maybe your school has a insert race student association or
Mm-hmm. I
student
was gonna say
union
that.
because a lot of well it depends on where you are and what type of university you're at because there are some schools that are not very diverse and not very welcoming,
Mm-hmm.
but I think you can definitely give that a shot because those clubs and those student association student union are such amazing communities. And I mean, in university, there are people that are coming from different states or different provinces, different countries, different continents.
Mm-hmm.
And some of those people join these groups so that they can feel connected to where they left,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then there's people that are token insert race in their community and then with this new association that they found out about they have a newfound community and I think that's really beautiful.
Mm-hmm. I agree. And universities are typically very big. Like, even if it is daunting, but even if you're at a predominantly not Asian school, you could make one, like an association or even just a small community, and there will be people that join, especially if you are in a school where there's only a scattered few. It's a very good way to make that baseline connection and possibly make friends
Yeah, I
who you
think
can connect to like instantaneously.
and you already have something in common. I mean, think
Exactly.
about think about how we met.
Exactly.
There's definitely actually I cannot remember which episode it was. I think it was the Asian bubble episode, but you were mentioning how you would basically go up to what was it? Didn't you say that you would go up to
The Asian ones.
yeah, or like the
Yes.
Filipino one, and you would go like, "Hey, are you like Filipino?"
Yeah, I do that a lot.
And
It
there's
has
such
made me many
instantaneous,
friends.
there's that instantaneous connection.
Yeah, there is.
Isn't it so cute?
Even
it's
just
the same
like
way
being
that you
Asian.
see people with a similar interest as you. Someone has a button from your favorite TV show.
Or a
No way, you
sweater with a
watched
band
that?
that you listen to.
Okay, Rihanna. Okay. I'm gonna pretend you didn't say that. I'm gonna pretend you didn't say anything. I'm the only person on this podcast right now. I've been doing this podcast on my own.
I've been kicked out by y'all.
Yeah, Rihanna was. We were on a break because we were figuring out the contract to let go of Rihanna.
Yeah.
I'm actually suing her. Here are the
Sorry,
papers.
guys.
You have been served.
Period.
What do you
That's all I can say. That line is so good. You have been served. If someone said that to me in a like real life context, I'd be like, you know what? I'm okay with it.
You know what? I have been served.
I have been served. Consider me served.
Oh, that's funny. You know what? If I'm ever there for when that happens, we'll record a vlog and put it on.
Yeah.
And the title will be Rihanna got served.
Rihanna got served.
No clickbait, emotional.
It's just me at a restaurant.
And then you start crying when the waiter comes.
Yeah.
I got served. Oh my goodness.
How did we even get here?
University.
Ah.
Wait, but how did we?
Oh, because we were
The
saying
band thing. And then
yeah.
I said, yeah, okay. Sorry about that, y'all. We hope you found that amusing, at least. But yeah, like we were saying, with the internet, and also if you happen to be in university or in college, there is like an abundance, especially with the internet and social media, there is like an abundance of different ways that you can connect to people of the same like background as you. And I didn't even think about this. Learning your own language on the internet.
Oh yeah. It's never been easier. You can literally like, even if you're speaking or you're learning a different language, there are apps, I think it's called Hello Talk. There are apps where you can talk to people in different languages, because there's the biggest complaint is like, oh well, like you only learn the best when you're like actually having conversation, and it's like you can do that online now, so no excuses.
No excuses. Rihanna's like, you gotta get up, and you're like one of those aggressive
fitness
motivational
podcaster. Yeah. Get up. What are you doing listening to me still? Go! You should be gone and learning those languages. Or else the Duolingo owl will come for you.
Have you seen the Duolingo owl videos?
Yes,
they're
terrifying.
So chaotic.
Their marketing team did well for embracing that.
Before we close this episode, not the conversation necessarily, we want to give a special shout out to all the token Asians out there. We love you.
We
Have
do.
a little virtual hug. I love saying that, actually.
I know. Virtual hugs are so cute.
I know. Anyway, shout out to all the token Asians out there. We hope that maybe this podcast helps you with your token Asian experience. Even if it's not, in an advice way, just in a, hey, these are Asian people.
Yeah.
They have a podcast.
I wanted to make podcasts.
You can.
I can do, yeah.
We're that inspirational.
For real, we're not.
What do you mean?
I mean, we are. Sorry, my bad.
Yeah. #1 podcast in the world.
Obviously.
You can quote me on that because it's true.
Yeah.
You open any podcast app, we are right there at #1.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, like I was saying, shout out to y'all. We don't care about the other. I'm kidding. we love all our listeners equally.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, thank you for tuning in today. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching.
Yes, and welcome and thank you for listening to the first installment in our FOB Facts series. Like, let us know what you guys think of it.
Yeah. Let us know if there are any other topics that you'd like to see us talk about.
Yeah, like what do you need help surviving?
Yeah. For sure. I would love, wouldn't that be
be very helpful.
FOB Facts, how to survive, coming up with a topic for FOB Facts.
Not to expose us.
Goodness. Anyways, feel free to leave a comment if you are a token Asian, like I was saying, or if you were one growing up. How did it make you feel? How did you deal with it? How did you not deal with it? Because let's be real. Life is not always sunshine and rainbows.
Mm-hmm. And
it
lollipops.
Is okay. Yes. It's okay if, well, I mean, it's not okay that you had a terrible time, but it's okay if you didn't deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if I'm wording this the right way.
I get it. I'm sure people get it. We get each other here.
Comment down below if you don't get it.
Yeah.
I have no idea what Tiffany is talking about. Yeah, I mean, you know what? Actually, if you're in a student association, like a Chinese student association or whatnot, tell us about that. I want to hear about your experience.
Yeah.
Are you the oh my gosh. Can you imagine? If you're the president of one of these, please comment. Say hello. Say hello.
Yeah. We want to know your origin story.
Yeah. Oh my goodness,
we'll
imagine someone that like someone that started one.
Because of FOB Facts.
I wasn't thinking that, but you know what? Oh. Yeah, sure.
Imagine like next year, someone comments under this video and they're like, hey, just to let you know, I actually started a student union and now I have like thousands of people part of it.
Wow, how beautiful. Bring the tear to my eye.
For real.
I love y'all.
Well, anyways. I'm just kidding. I love you guys too. I can't say last topic though.
Comment down below a nice message to Rihanna as she recovers. Please. And finishes, I guess, is on the last leg of her recovery.
I would cry if someone left a comment saying something like that. In a good way.
Who wants to make Rihanna cry?
Well, if you guys like this episode and want to stay connected with us, check out our website in the description. It contains links to our streaming platforms such as Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, and more. Follow us for more behind-the-scenes content, announcements, and other random things we decide to put on there.
next time.